Hi everybody, welcome to my first Facebook Live, also with my books here. We're really excited to share this with you. And for those of you at home, the first 25 to be able to share this on the Facebook are going to get a free copy of my book, personally autographed from me to you. So I'm really excited, and I've got some questions. They've been coming in already from my previous post to ask. You want to ask me, then I'm going to answer.
Claudette was the first person to share.
Yes,
Claudette shared.
So Claudette actually gets a book. So this is very cool, Claudette. This is going to you. So I'm going to sign. I'm going to assume that it's like Claudette. Claudette.
Claudette, Mitchell, Chaz, Tyler, Sandy,
All
Joe.
right.
All right, we're all over this. We're Kyle. Can I flip the phone around and show you Kyle?
Yeah, show Kyle. She's helping
Hey,
out.
Kyle.
Hello.
We're behind the scenes here at Fox News. This is Lisa
Yes, we
from
are.
HarperCollins. I'm Kim's book publisher. Kimberly is very busy. She's already signing.
Claudette's got hers, so we're keeping a tab of everybody who's been sharing, and you're going to get your book, so that's super exciting. And I love all the questions here that I'm getting. So one of them is from Sandra Rochelle, and it says, what do you think your biggest challenge was in getting to where you are today? Well, certainly what's interesting for those of you who kind of know my background, or at least you read my bio on Fox News, is that I started out as an attorney. I'm a former prosecutor from the LA DA's office and San Francisco DA's office, where I was also First Lady. So making a transition from working in law, trying cases in front of juries every day, to then going into television journalism. Well, thanks to my legal career and trying a high-profile case, I was able to meet great producers, where then I got an offer to come work in television, and 6 later altogether. And in fact, Lisa Sharkey was one of my producers at Good Morning America.
Woohoo.
Who thought that I had some talent.
She did.
And she enjoyed my legal analysis, and that's how it all got started. And then years later, then we decided about working together when she's at HarperCollins to do a book, because she wanted me to be able to share my story and talk about kind of the trials, the triumphs, the ups and downs that we all face in life when we're trying to make career decisions, to change paths, be courageous, and start a new chapter in our lives. That was a very good question.
Here's a question right now coming in live. Do you think it's easier for women in law school than it used to be?
Yeah, in my law school at USF, where I went in San Francisco, our class was actually a little bit, I guess 52%, something like that, women to men. So it's very interesting, because now you're seeing classes that are more females enrolled in law school than men. So I think it is getting easier, because I had a lot of support, camaraderie. It was great to be there with other women that were striving very hard to be able to get an education. Some of the women that I went to school with, some were moms and they were going back to school. Others had part-time jobs and were going to law school at night. So it was kind of a nice variety and mix of people. And some people had other careers, and then they decided to get into law, decided to pursue this path, follow their bliss, and follow their dreams. So it's an exciting place, because you meet people from all different backgrounds. Then there was like Revenge of the Nerds, me, and I went straight out of UC Davis. So by the time, I guess when I finished law school, I was 24 years of age. So
Chris says, please do a live session on the bus.
Oh yes, people. So this is great. So on July 15th, right after we finish the 5, which is in the studio right over there, we are going to get on the bus to Cleveland to go to the Republican convention. It's going to be very exciting, and we are having a camera on the bus. Now, sorry to tell you that the camera will not be live streaming the entire time, because you might get grossed out by Greg Gutfeld. However, we will be doing live interviews that'll then go straight to the news channel, like on Fox and Friends and some of your favorite shows, and we'll be doing our show live on location there. And it gets better. Oh yeah, because then we're going to the Democratic convention in Philly, and that should be a lot of fun too. And the bus is cool. Some of you saw pictures of it. It's like wrapped in like red, white, and blue with stars, and it says 5 road trip, road to Cleveland, road to Philly. Anyway, I think it's going to be good. Dana says she's going to have fun educational games and snacks on the bus, and Bowling says he's going to bring great liquor. So there you go.
Someone wants to know if everybody on the 5 is a lawyer.
Good question. There's a number of people here at Fox that are lawyers, but on the 5, I'm actually the only attorney on the show. So Greg Gutfeld has a background working in magazines as an editor-in-chief, Maxim stuff, other magazines like that. Dana, as you know, was Bush's White House press secretary. Juan Williams is a writer and obviously working in television for 20 years as a political commentator. Bowling, a baseball player, and also a former trader. So we've got a lot of diversity there for sure. on the big channel, we have a lot of people that are, Megyn Kelly is an attorney. We have Lise Wheel, who I do Is It Legal every Tuesday night with. Obviously, a lawyer as well. Greg Jarrett, a number of people. So,
Marjorie from Salina, Ohio wants to know, what inspired you most to write the book?
I really wanted to give back. My father and mother always taught me, when you've been blessed, much is expected of you. In any way that you can make this life not about you, but about other people, about helping. And I've been through a lot, in my life, like so many of you have. And I thought, why don't I just be courageous and put this down and commit it in a book so that people can take this with them and maybe get a little bit out of it, that it might help them, whether it was, changing a career, or whether it's going from, college to maybe going to graduate school, law school, or get an MBA, or, switching any kind of career in life is very tough and stressful. Also, it deals with family, and familiar relationships, personal stuff.
Here, let's hold up a copy. Hold up a copy of the book so people can see what it looks like.
So there you go. I got a blue dress on.
Look at that.
Little different hairstyle, right, Kyle? That's my hair was part on the side. Now I have it in the center.
Patty Jones, one of the first 25.
Oh, all right, another one. Okay,
Patty
fantastic.
Jones, all right.
So that's what
Winner.
P-A-T-T. And then
Jones. J-O-N-E-S.
This is about Priscilla Delgado is asking, are you Irish?
Yes, I'm half Irish and half Puerto Rican. My father was born in Ennis, County Clare, which is in the southern part of Ireland. And my mother was born in Aguadilla in Puerto Rico, a beautiful coastal town. So yes, I'm 50-50. They met in San Francisco and fell in love. Yes, and then I was the firstborn, followed up by my brother, who we affectionately refer to as Mas Macho. Phones are ringing at Fox News.
Yeah, we have people from Bismarck, North Dakota, Naples, Florida, Memphis, Tennessee, Lutz, Florida, Massachusetts.
Patty Jones got her book.
And Andy Doss is asking, and this is also something you cover in the book, what is your biggest challenge of being a single parent?
Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you. I have such admiration, for single parents, men or women. I've met actually quite a few single fathers as well, and it's tough stuff. But I think that growing up without my mother since the age of 10, I really learned that it's about the love that you give and receive, and not the number of people that are sharing it with you. So for me, I felt like I had such a great example from my mother, the way she raised me, and then my father, who is so incredible. It's also one of the reasons why I wrote the book. I wanted to put all the life lessons that I learned from them and put it down in paper as a legacy to them as well. And being I guess a single mom, the hard part is that sometimes you feel guilty. You want to be able to be there all the time, but I'm also the class mom for my son's class, which is super fun, and I really enjoy doing that. And they let you come to the school and you can read to the kids, and you get to plan the parties, and you get to pick out the gifts for the teachers at the end. And he really likes seeing me there every day. I always make sure every morning I take him to school without exception, and so it's about the quality time, and I really feel that we have that together, and we enjoy our weekends and stuff too. So I do believe that you can do it and have it all. I think budgeting your time and prioritizing and making sure that they feel that you're really present when you're there with them is also hugely important, and stressing education and family time.
Ruby
David Hamilton.
Oh, David is number 3. Great. Ruby is asking, what made you want to become a lawyer? That's great, because the title of the book is Making the Case, and there's a great story there.
Yes, I really was excited about becoming a lawyer because my father used to teach me to be my own best advocate. Anytime that I wanted to do something, I wanted permission for a field trip, to go somewhere, get a new prom dress, whatever it was, he told me, listen, never be afraid to ask. Don't be afraid of the no. Stand up and make your best arguments and put them forward. The worst thing I can say is, not this time. You know how to do it better next time. Try again, right? Why not? Be afraid of not asking, because you never know what you could have gotten if you had just been brave enough to ask the question. So through all that training and skills, I really developed a sense of, identity and confidence and self-esteem as a young woman. And my father said, you've become quite a good advocate, and I think you'd make a fantastic attorney. So I started researching, and I loved the idea of working in the prosecutor's office so that I could reach out and help victims of violent crime and those that don't have a voice, that have suffered terrible loss, families through violent crimes, to be able to stand up for them and seek justice. I think it's one of of the most giving things that you can do in your life, to be there, to be supportive, to be that warrior for those that are so much in need. And so I really enjoyed doing that, and I really credit my father, and then also my mother, before she passed, was looking at going back into a career in law and as a prosecutor, and was studying criminal law. So I still had her criminal law book with me, you know, to this day, which is really inspirational.
So Susie is writing in live. Her daughter's name is Alicia, and Alicia has just started her first job, and she really wants your advice about getting started in her career. How do you work your way to the top?
You know, it just depends on what specific position you want. So for me, when I decided that I might want to be a prosecutor, I said to myself, well, I've got to be able to get an internship. So it was through networking, and I went and applied for a number of different, you know, positions. I was able to get a position as an intern for the Yolo County DA's office, which was just right outside of UC Davis, and that's where I got the experience. And it's about, you know, getting a mentor, someone to be there for you, to be able to write a reference letter, to let you know if a job becomes available, anything like that that you can do to reach out. You'd be surprised about the people in your life and who they know and what they can do in terms of connecting you with other people, you know, with a job, with a phone number to track something down, a lead, somebody that can actually just even have an, you know, conversation, like informational interview, to tell you about a field that they're in that you might be interested in. So it's through that kind of like hustle and hard work, and then also trying different things. I tried working as an intern in private practice to see kind of the juxtaposition between working in the public sector or working in private practice. And that's when I was really able to kind of fine-tune for sure the certainty of my quest and my desire to be a prosecutor. So it was through all those steps that I was able to figure it out and make it happen.
William wants to know, would you ever consider working perhaps on the Supreme Court?
Wow, it's interesting, right? Because we've been talking about, we call it SCOTUS, Supreme Court of the United States, about the different positions that would be coming open. Obviously, Antonin Scalia, one of my favorite justices of all time, with his recent passing, you know, there's a vacancy on the court. I mean, obviously, that would be a tremendous honor to be able to serve the country. It's essentially a lifetime, you know, commitment. Maybe someday, you never say never. I love the law, and it's something that always fascinates me. And in fact, we were just talking about the recent Supreme Court decisions today on the 5.
So there's other questions that you have on the piece of paper right next to you.
Yes,
so why don't
I
you
do.
go to one of the next great questions? These are from
So
earlier.
Warren Jones asked me, which is more fulfilling to you, practicing law or television journalism as a career? Well, I touched on kind of the passion of what I felt, you know, working as a prosecutor in Los Angeles District Attorney's Office, San Francisco DA's office, you know, child abuse crimes, domestic violence, gang cases, homicides. It was just a tremendous amount of experience that I was able to get. I felt very good about what I did when I went to bed at night and when I got up in the morning. You know, I felt like I was fearless and I was passionate about what I was doing. So that was fantastic. Never did I think that I would experience the joy and the pleasure that I have experienced in my new life and new career working in television journalism, and especially here at Fox News. It's been an incredibly rewarding experience working with the journalists that I work with every day. We're such a family together, and also, you know, all the fans. Like, we just had Fox Fan Appreciation Day on Friday. Many of you, I'm sure, saw the show. And it was so wonderful to meet so many of you. I took pictures with everyone for an hour after, and just hearing how people love the show and they watch it together as a family. So there's a reach, there's a connection there, there's an ability to educate and inform on such a large and global level that it's empowering. So, you know, I feel that the job I do here, not only is it personally rewarding, but very important to me is that I feel that I'm, you know, reaching out and helping other people and coming into their lives and into their homes. And I'm very fortunate to be able to do that. You know, it's a special gift that, you know, has been given to me to be able to connect with you.
J.R. Page is asking, were you ever a defense attorney? We've got 3,000 people watching live, by the way, from Gulfport, Mississippi. We've got people from Florida. We've got people from all over the continental United States. Everyone is weighing in. Vermont. Kimberly, Deborah says, you are amazing. I am so excited that you are a part of Fox News. We've got Missouri, we've got Rutherford to North Carolina, Columbus, Mississippi.
Fantastic.
So this is just great.
Oh, we're getting all the states represented. We're going to get all 50 states represented.
So Dover, Delaware, Central New York.
I love it. I love it.
So
I love
defense attorney, were you ever?
Defense attorney.
Yeah.
So no, I have never worked as a defense attorney. I only worked as a prosecutor. And, you know, it's kind of, for me, that was just my passion. It was my focus. I wasn't, I feel like that's such an important job. You have to be all in to be able to do it because they deserve a fantastic, defense. That's the only way the system works. But some of my best friends are some of the finest attorneys I've ever met, and they are defense attorneys, and you can tell they're passionate about it. They're so good at it, and that's where, I would never do something unless my heart wasn't 100%, in it.
Christopher is watching from Nairobi, Kenya.
Oh, hi, Chris. I think this is my neighbor. Very nice. Okay.
All right, let's go to one of the next questions that you've got on the page there.
Yeah. Oh, another question here.
Sure.
Is, let's see. Oh, this is interesting. So, do news people say daily steady diet of negative views? So, in that question, I would say, yes, it's upsetting when you see cases where ISIS is murdering Christians and children and things like that. It's very tough when you have to report on news of that, or you talk about the bombings and things, the Bataclan and Brussels and terror attacks like San Bernardino and what hit us here at home recently in Orlando. That can be very tough because especially when you feel like you're not bringing joy into people's homes, but you struggle with naming the terrorist or showing his face and how much information to give the public. But we definitely believe in sharing all of that, letting people make up their minds, the decisions that they have to make, and putting that news forward. But it is tough. So some days are really rough, especially when you're talking to family members and victims of terror attacks like this and the aftermath. That can be tough. But that's the job that we need to do, and it's important.
Yeah, there's a woman actually writing in whose husband was murdered in the San Bernardino attacks.
Oh my goodness.
So I mean, this is the pain of reporting on the news, is that you are bombarded with really sad things that happen all the time.
Yeah, that's the tough part, but you have a responsibility, and also to the victims and to their families, to honor them, and we always try to do that and focus on them as well, because so many times a news cycle becomes driven by the person that committed the attack, and we always make a point, especially on our show and at Fox News, to remember the victims and to tell their story and to celebrate their life, and then to talk about what we can do to make sure it doesn't happen again.
Gil is asking, and this is a very touching question, but have you ever reported a story that made you cry?
Oh yes, when you see stories, especially involving children, it's tough as a mom. It just breaks your heart when you see the people who have lost children. It's very tough to talk to them and to hear, especially when I think of some of the mothers of fallen soldiers that I've interviewed, and they're just real palpable pain at losing their child and losing them, in warfare like that. You can only imagine, and talking to soldiers that have been, that are living, that have been disfigured or have lost limbs or have traumatic brain injury, and just the toll that it takes, on their lives. I heard some of those stories just again the other day when we were honoring Sean Hannity for Building Homes for Heroes, and just to witness and listen to their stories and their bravery and how much that they fought for our liberty and for our freedom. It makes you think about, and especially spreading the word, to not take these things for granted.
A lot of people are asking about Juan and whether or not he gets under your skin. I mean, there have been so many comments about that.
Yeah, okay, Juan, well, all of us play with Juan, right? He's got a tough job because it's 1 against 4, but he seems to enjoy it and relish it. But we do get along very well personally. I did his, birthday for My One More Thing, got him delicious cake from Magnolia Bakery, because Juan, if you don't know, has a big sweet tooth. So, but we have a good time with them. At the end of the day, we're all a big family. And in fact, if the producers of Family Feud are watching, we've always wanted to go on Family Feud against another show. We think it would be super fun. So we feel like we know each other really well, and we play well together, we fight well together. So it's a good mix. Our show's about chemistry.
Brandon asked, what does Greg Gutfeld smell like?
What does he smell like?
He's gonna love this.
He smells like who Greg is, or
Yes.
Greg's watching.
He probably is.
Oh yeah, well he's
Nice?
Greg. Actually, it depends. If it's after the show, he smells like Pinot Noir. He smells like red wine. If you give him like an hour and a half after the show, he's a big fan of red wine. I always tease him about it. But other than that, I try not to get too close to sniff him, but then also he comes up to about here on me.
Jason wants to know, what role does faith play in your decision-making process?
a huge role. I mean, a morning doesn't go by that I don't pray and reflect on my thoughts, my ideas, and my decisions that I make every evening throughout the day. I've always been, a very spiritual person, a very prayerful person. That's how I was raised by my mother and father, and I would never make a decision without praying about it and reflecting on it personally and spiritually, and seeing about, my path, and was I doing something for the right reasons, and was it what I was doing, would it be something that would be helping other people as well, which is hugely important to me to give back.
All right, we've got people from Iowa. We've got somebody from Taterville, Louisiana, Shelby, North Carolina, from Oregon,
Nice.
from San Diego.
I've been to Oregon, San Diego,
And
beautiful
someone
place.
says nothing can be as annoying as Geraldo on the show.
Oh my gosh, here's where all the opinions come in. Oh, well, Geraldo, you know what I love about him? He's very authentic. He says what he wants, what he thinks, what he believes. He's really just undaunted in the face even of adversity. He's able to handle us on the show very well, like Juan is. So it's, I like him personally. I worked with him, for many years on weekends, and he's unafraid. So he's witnessed so much of history, and apparently his name shows up more than any other name in written books, like in the world. I don't know, some statistic we heard, which is good. All right, I'm signing this book to David. I'm getting behind on signing, but I will get them all done, I promise you. So Kyle, you've got the list, right?
Yes.
Of the 25 people, and I've got a great question here I wanted to get to from Robert, I believe it's Spradling. Where did you receive the values to become a conservative? So that's very much how I was raised by my mother and my father, which was in a traditional sense of really giving back to other people, being supportive in your community, caring tremendously about our liberties and our freedoms. My father came here from another country, became a citizen, joined the Army. It was all about hard work, kind of that immigrant mentality of, don't expect, handouts in life. You're being blessed by being in this country. Work hard with the opportunities and the great education that you've received. So that's always been part of my fabric of who I am and how I'm made up. And I saw that firsthand with my mother working as a teacher. She worked with special needs children, and then also with my father, was super hardworking, a great builder, and just a wonderful man, and involved in his community, and really deeply involved in politics in San Francisco. And I saw that they were not just telling me, how to be, but they were like leading and showing by example. And for me, that spoke volumes. And being there for one another, being very loyal, being patriotic, getting out there to vote, all of those things. So it was kind of a progression, and then working as a prosecutor as well, and seeing justice from inside the courtroom and going into different communities, and the impact of crime on communities, the impact of gangs on communities, and an ability for a child even to get to school safely. So I care about that. I care about neighborhoods and making people's lives better, and also just seeing, families working, small businesses, believe definitely in the free market and capitalism. And so those are all those values that helped shape me. And then when I went to UC Davis, I had an amazing professor that taught me all, about Ronald Reagan and political science and some of Reagan's great speeches. So I was very inspired by him and his love of this country and trying to give people a better life. So that's what I like.
Kevin wants to know, where do you see yourself in 10 years?
Well, maybe still doing Facebook Lives. I don't know. But, yeah, so let's see. Kyle's making funny. Kyle is my assistant, by the way, one of the producers. Say hi.
Hello, Kyle. We have.
I know where KG's going to be in 10 years.
Where's she going to be?
Best job in the world, Kyle.
That's me. Hands down.
And
I'm the
what
luckiest
else
girl.
do you call me?
Cage.
Cage.
Cage. It's my nickname for her.
Her
Cage.
nickname.
Because everyone else calls her KG.
Yeah, so she calls me Cage. Cage.
So we're behind the
yes.
scenes here on Facebook Live with Kimberly Guilfoyle, talking about her book,
And where do I see myself in
Making
10
the
years?
Case. Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
10 years, I don't know. I think so far things are going very well at Fox News. I love writing books. I love working here with my colleagues, and there's always new and unique opportunities presenting themselves here. So I've done everything from hosting, Fox and Friends and filling in there, to hosting the New Year's Eve show, the Five, outnumbered with a great, cast and crew, and then also always on with my one of my great friends, Greta Van Susteren and Bill O'Reilly and Sean Hannity, and I also fill in for Greta. So it's a really great environment. You're constantly evolving and learning and growing. So for me, this is very satisfying. Maybe I'll be here in 10 years, but I enjoy the medium of television. And by the way, one of my favorite books, if you haven't read it, is, besides mine, is You Are the Message by Roger Ailes. And I was taught that as part of my core curriculum for public speaking at UC Davis in like Rhetoric 101, something like that, public speaking class. And I love the medium of television. And I really always love the idea of being able to connect with people and going through this. And this is interesting to me because Facebook Live is another example of how you can use a medium to be able to connect people. For them to feel like relatable to you and for you to connect with them no matter where they are in the country or where they are in the world. So I look forward to more social media developments.
Donald from Dallas, if you could change one thing in the United States right now, what would it be?
Someone has to see your heels. What heels you're wearing?
Oh, so these are Christian
wow,
Louboutin.
fabulous.
Yes.
My favorite.
So these are nice. They're like a skin of some
Are they
sort.
hard to walk in?
They're not too hard to walk in. They're pretty high, but anyone who knows me knows that I've always got my heel collection on display in the Lake Chair box. But what are you gonna do? I'm a Puerto Rican woman, and we like to dress and look nice and have our shoes and keep it going good.
Andrew Grant wants to know, any chance you would run for president? I mean, you were First Lady of San Francisco.
I was First Lady of San Francisco. I was a prosecutor, so I believe in public service. I think it's one of the best ways that you can give back in life. And do I know that I would ever run for president? I wouldn't rule it out. But, public office is something that I could definitely see in my future. That segues back nicely to the where do you see yourself in 10 years? Who knows? Maybe someday it might be nice to run for mayor or run for governor or the U.S. Senate. I go where the path leads me. We flow with the universe.
And the other question was, what's the biggest problem that you see? What's the one thing you would fix about America today?
What bothers me is when I see people that don't really appreciate. They complain so much about this country, and it's like, really, have you gone to other places? Do you know how lucky you are? Do you know how hard people work to be able to give us these rights and these privileges that we have? This is the greatest country in the world. I believe we have the greatest justice system. We have an incredible education system, and no matter where you come from, you don't have to be connected when you come here, and you can be somebody who came from immigrants, and you can work hard, and you can do something on your own. I want to see more of a celebration of that, of this country, of people being appreciative and asking, like Kennedy said, what can you do for your country? Don't ask what your country can do for you. We need to get a little bit back to those values, to embrace them, and be part of the solution and not be part of the empty rhetoric that's defeating America. This isn't a bad place. We're the first country to come to humanitarian aid for all the countries that need us. We're the first to help out militarily. We're good people, we're hardworking, we have great values, and we do welcome others in, especially those that would not seek us harm.
Chris says, if you were president, you would have an amazing press secretary, Dana.
Yes, exactly. I would ask her if she could take a hiatus from the 5 and come. She's fantastic. Amazing expert communicator, and she's very good with rapid response, by the way, which is what you need in this day and age with all the social media. So that would be fun. And of course, then Jasper would come to the Oval as well.
Do you want to go to another one of your pre-asked questions from earlier?
Yeah, let's see, because I want to make sure. Okay, so this is interesting. Roger Wallen asked me, who were you influenced by in the news world? Well, when I first started out, I was at Good Morning America. And I had the opportunity to work and meet with people like Robin Roberts and Diane Sawyer and Barbara Walters, and I was strongly influenced by them because they were strong women that were interesting, fascinating, who had done incredible interviews and been all over the world and had really changed journalism for women in this country. So I was just thrilled to be able to be there and have a front row seat to see them, in action and really learn and grow and be inspired. I mean, whoever thought, I was going to be on the couch one day and I'd be getting asked questions, by Diane Sawyer. It was pretty fantastic, to tell you the truth.
There's somebody who's watching this from a tractor.
Okay.
Don't fall. Don't fall.
I love tractors. They're fun. Have you ever ridden in a tractor, Lisa? They're actually pretty cool.
I have ridden in a tractor,
You
yes.
probably know how to operate one. Well, I love this. I'm wondering, I guess they're watching on their phone, right? And
Yeah,
they're
so
like,
Travis is saying, is there really a glass ceiling?
is there really a glass ceiling? I mean, I certainly don't like to believe so. You know, I mean, I'm surrounded by women that are always popping right through the top. So I believe in a glass ceiling that has a really amazing sunroof. You just pop it right open and go straight through.
Somebody's asking if there's a movie or a book that was the most influential for you in your life.
A movie or a book? Oh, if I had to pick one book, honestly, that it was the most influential in terms of my values and the way I was raised, I went to, all-girls private Catholic school, Our Lady of Mercy Grammar School, Mercy High School, and then I went to a Jesuit law school. So I would say that book would be the Bible. I was taught it in catechism from an early age, and when I went through tough times in my life with both my parents being ill and ultimately passing away, it was through prayer and through the Bible and different passages that really gave me strength, and doing daily meditations and readings, excerpts, from the Bible each day to be able to get through the tough times. And then I think it's important too, when in times of celebration as well, to give thanks and remember how you got here.
So back to favorite things. Terry is asking, do you have a favorite vacation spot?
Oh, so I really... No, I like Mexico. I do, because when I lived West Coast, I used to go on vacation there, and so the West Coast places to go were always like Mexico, Cabo San Lucas, or Cancun. Also, when I was in high school, I went to Mazatlan on my senior high school trip. I was in charge, of course, of that.
There's a story about that in the book.
Yes, there is. That's how I got the permission to go and be there. I was the one that all the parents said I could be the legal guardian because I was 18. Some of my best girlfriends hadn't quite turned 17 yet. They were born later in the year. So they signed off saying I was responsible for their children, which I took very seriously. And my dad let me go, which was nice because I was able to make my case. That's an example of me winning. So love Mexico. Hawaii also, very nice. And then I love Puerto Rico because that's where my mother was born, so that's wonderful. Vacation, Ireland, I lived every summer since I was 5, and I went to law school at Trinity College in Dublin, Ireland. So that was very fun, and it was a dream of mine when I was little on summer vacation that one day I would come back and go to school there. Italy's pretty nice. You want to talk about Europe? Italy. I went to Greece, been to London, France. So I've had some, nice trips that were also educational and informative as well. But in general, for vacation, I like a place that has controlled water, hot tubs, outdoor showers, and no sharks.
So people are asking questions, other favorite things. Do you have a favorite personal fragrance, for example? Do you like a scent?
Oh, yes. This is a very good question because I'm very strong about this. I love Marc Jacobs perfume, the original scent. So it's like he has a couple of different ones. One's like Daisy, this and that. But the first one, I love it. You love it too, Kyle. You always use mine.
I hope a lot of fans send that.
Yeah, because Kyle's like, I'm gonna get you a new bottle of that, Cage. I'm like, when? Because like we've been out for a while. But anyway, so I got one. But I love that, and I love this powder that my mom used to use, Maja powder, M-A-J-A, and it smells so beautiful. So I always take it and I put it on myself, and it makes me think of her, and it smells like her. And then, anyway, so that was nice. And then I had a little lady that had kind of adopted me as, she was like a grandma to me when I was growing up. Her name was Elma Mae Jellicet. I think that's why I was talking with a southern accent. And she used to let me use her Chanel No. 5 powder and perfume. And I like that too, and it reminds me of her.
Kelly from Idaho, who's your best friend at Fox News?
That would be other than you,
Besides me.
Kyle?
Besides Kyle,
Duh.
right? We always get that we're sisters.
Yes.
Sisters. Who's my best friend at Fox? Well, I have a lot of very good friends here, actually. I mean, everybody on the 5 I'm very close with Eric Bowling and Dana. But my best friend, I would say overall, would be Ainsley Earhart. She is the host of Fox and Friends, and we came into Fox together about 11 years ago, and we're super close. And you know, she has my heart. She's very sweet, and you know, we get along very well, and been super supportive of one another. And she was super happy when I got the 5, and I was super happy for her when she got Fox and Friends. And I even sat in on the seat sometime before she could come back from maternity leave. So that's nice. It's nice to have a bestie.
Let's go back to one of those questions on the sheet that you've got in front of you.
Okay, let's see. I'm a little blinded by the light. Influence in the news world. Well, this was one we kind of answered. Randy Job said, if your time at Fox ended, what would be your next career? You know, I think I would continue to write for sure. And also, I enjoy public speaking. I like to go and give speeches at schools. I was able to go to University of Northern Texas with my great friend, Ernie, who invited me. And also, I was able to go to Cornell and give a speech there and meet all the students and take pictures and talk to them and sign books, and it was really fun. I like to get out there and meet people and connect with them and to answer their questions, you know, and try and be part of their path, you know, in life in terms of them thinking about what they want to do next, and also talking to them about the media business, about journalism, about news gathering, all of those things. It's pretty exciting. So I would probably continue to do that and maybe, you know, go into politics. I think it all depends. There's a lot of opportunity out there, and I like having jobs.
So one final question, which is, who is the one person you've always wanted to interview on the show?
Yes, you know, one time we had that for one of our famous Facebook Fridays on the 5, and then unfortunately I was realizing the majority of people I wanted to interview are no longer with us. So that's not so great. Now, I will tell you this. I would like to interview the next president of the United States. So let's see. Either Trump or Hillary, and then who knows? Actually, I'm going to interview someone running for president of the United States. Gary Johnson, Libertarian candidate, is going to be coming on when I am in for the 2 p.m. show on Wednesday. So I'll get to interview one of the potential, you know, candidates. And I've interviewed Donald Trump before, but I would like to interview whoever is the winner of the 2016 election.
Okay, last one. Let's get this on the record.
How tall are you?
How tall am I? Yes. Somebody started this thing that I was 5', right? I was
Yes.
so crazy. We don't know what it is, but the problem is when people write things about you on the internet that are blatantly false, there's like kind of nothing you can do about it. So I'm 5'7", but I wear 5-inch heels, so I look very, very tall. Not 5'2", as anyone in this room can attest to. Pan down, Lisa. I mean, give me a break. I mean,
There she
Yeah,
is.
too.
She
There
is.
I
And
am.
let's,
How
but
tall
hold
are
on,
you?
let's check out the
6'1".
shoes.
he's 6'1".
All right, we're only
Well,
showing
I've got
half of
heels
his
on
face,
now
but
too,
he's 6'1"
right?
and
So-
she's got heels
but
on.
anyway, but yeah. So when people see me and they're like, "Oh, actually, you're tall." Now, if I take my shoes off, which I'm happy to do too, there we go. You see, I'm actually not short.
Not 5'2".
She's not short. So let's look
Magic.
at the book one more time. Hold it up nice and
Yep.
close.
Let me get my shoes back on.
Okay, put on those shoes. Here she goes.
And we will message the 25 people for
Yes,
the addresses.
that's even better. So, and if you like the book or you like the chat, and I'll be doing these again, I'd love if you would, you know, maybe give it to a family member, read it yourself, pass it along if you thought it was enjoyable. It's always nice to get a book and then share it with somebody else. Mothers, fathers out there, your children going on to college. A lot of young girls have told me they found the book fantastic and inspirational for them. For those of you also, you know, going through things with parents at home, if you have a parent who is ill at home, I talk about that and what it takes as a family to get through it. So that might be helpful. Or for those of you going through a divorce, some of those tough personal times in your life where you wish you had some like guidance or connection or someone that you could relate to. It's all there in the book. Thanks to Lisa Sharkey and HarperCollins. And I have to tell you, it was so fun spending time with you tonight. So thank you for watching. Click on the book if you like it to be able to buy it. And for those of you who shared it, the first 25, I'm going to finish signing these right now. And I'm going to mail them to you. So you're going to get a nice surprise in the mail. And guess what? Don't forget, Catch Me With My Buddy, Greta Van Susteren. I'm going to be on at 7:30 tonight. And that's p.m. Eastern on the record. See you back tomorrow on the 5.